Okay, it's drizzling outside today, so I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to make crank this in an open setup on a conventional mill. And I've got this plate. What I'm thinking about doing is using this plate for cutting the groove in the back side and then doing this contour on the front side. You know, I'll have to swing around that boss on there. So what I have here is an old plate that I've used a few times now for various things, doing the same thing. And all it is just this is just a piece of aluminum, scrap aluminum. And I have a stripper bolt. And what I did was I drilled a hole, and then I counterbored that hole just so the top of the stripper bolt just pokes out. Is just slightly proud of this surface here. Then I took another piece here and drilled and tapped a hole for the stripper bolt. So I take and I put that on there. Take and turn that in. You could actually use a regular bolt too, and just screw it in so it's just snug and then Loctited in place. I mean, if you didn't have a stripper bolt. And tighten that up. Now what I do is I clamp this into vise. So it's clamped into vise. And then I take and I put, and I have this hole here, counterboard on this side, so I can dial in to get the center, so I can get the center line of the swing. And what I do is I take and I used the surface one time on this side, on this arm, but you could take a block, just any old block, and I put some holes in here, and you can mount. And that's what I did with this. And I just mounted it on here. Mounted it on there. That way you can clamp your part on a flat surface. So I'll probably flip it over and use this side, drill a couple holes, mount it, and then I'll be able to mount that, what I want to mill the contour on, and the groove. Then I'll be able to put a 540 pin through there. That'd be an 1/8 inch. That'd be a slip fit on an 1/8 inch. So what I'll do is I'll just put a 540 screw down there to hold it in place tight. Take a small end mill and whittle around it. And what I do to I'll scribe it out, and then I'll put a stop here, and then wherever I have to stop over here. And I'll either drill a hole and put a pin, or I will put a can't twist clamp in here on the sides so that I can gauge my swing. Here, let's go over to the mill and put it in the vise, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So there's the vise. Need a couple parallels to stick underneath it. Doesn't matter how tall they are, I guess. We'll just and then we'll put that in there. And I got the two edges milled parallel, obviously. Oop, I need to open the vise up. Yeah, it's drizzling and raining outside, so I'm in dinking around trying to figure out how I'm going to do certain things here. So we tighten that up. Now say I want the swing to stop when I come around right there. I can either put a screw in there, because there's a hole right there, or I can put a can't twist clamp in on there. And just take and stick a can't twist clamp there. so I just come up to that can twist clamp and then come around, and I can put another can twist clamp here to wherever I want. If I wanted only 90 degrees, I'd put one right there. It works out good, and it's a little unit that you can make, and you can use it over and over and over just by putting another plate on here to bolt your part to. And the handle for a 1/4 inch, I use it for a 1/4 inch and under end mill. If you start getting bigger than that, you know, you run the risk of it whipping around on you, and plus, when you're milling, conventional cut, so that you're pushing against it, and it seems to work pretty good. I've done flywheels that way on this thing, and basically, if I were to do this, say I was going to do this with flat spokes, this flywheel, I'd put a plate on here and clamp it down and mill the inside out. So, and then I could actually do the, if I figured out the degrees in here that I wanted to do, I just go point and just mill out to the, but anyway, it works for if you don't have a way of swinging radius or a contoured area. It works good. I mean, I haven't had any mishaps with it, or we've done the shop where I worked at. They actually had a production part that was run that way on a little fixture similar to this. I mean, much more fancier and not made out of scrap, but they had where you could put a different plate on there, put the part on, cut your, and they'd have pins, and you can cut your radius or whatever you want to cut. And if you got a different part, put a different plate on there, put the pins in the other spots, and so anyway, I know that I'm 99% sure that this is going to work. I just need to turn up the part now. Turn up the part, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn. I have to turn it out of. This is 875 plus 100 for that radius is sticking out there. And that I can hand blend that. If I wanted to, I could pull that back and center it over that center point and actually swing that on this unit also. I mean, it's no different than a rotary table, other than you're moving it by hand here. So what I'll do is I'll turn that out of 1-inch stock probably, and turn it down to 975, then go on the back side and turn the 875 and cut the little belt groove in there, and then part it off, come over here. Well, I'll have to drill the hole too, the 1/8 inch hole, and come over here and put the pin in, and or the 540 screw in the block, and hold it down. Tighten her up tight so she doesn't move, and I think it'll work. It'll work all right as long as I'm real careful. So anyway, you got to get busy turning that up. So I'm going over here to the lathe, and I'm not sure what material I want to make that out of. Probably just either brass or aluminum. It does have to slide here, and plus the crank actually has to slide on that. I might make that out of brass. Let's see what I got for some small brass scrap chunks. big stuff. That's bigger than an inch. I want something that's right around an inch. I might end up making it out of aluminum though. I have a better selection. I don't know what diameter this is. I gotta get the calipers and check that. It's gotta be close. Oh, that's 875. Yeah, that's not gonna work. I got some like 2 or 3 inch brass. I'm not gonna turn that down to, for that little piece. So I guess it's gonna be aluminum. And that too is, I have a bigger selection, but it's nothing at an inch. The bar that I used to, at 875, I got lots of little 875 pieces. Well, I'm gonna have to cut away here and do some hunting and see what I can find. I'll be back when I find something that is suitable. Okay, I'm going to dial in my little swing plate fixture here. I made a new little plate for on top. Right here, so that'll get bolted on there. There'll be a 540 screw in the center. I did turn up a blank here. I made it out of cold roll steel, and I didn't get the pulley or groove quite right, but it'll work. It'll be all right. So this will get bolted on to this plate through that hole like that. And then we'll cut the profile of the rod where the rod hooks up to it. So first thing I'm going to do is dial in that hole, which is the swivel point. I made this long time ago. I used it about I'd say 6 or 7 times already now. Even with my NC, if I got something real quick then to swing a radius on it, I'll grab this rather than make my NC all dirty. Alright, so I'm just kind of eyeballing the end of the indicator so it's kind of not wiggling so much so I can see about where center is so I can get it close. So if you've watched me dial in stuff, you know that that's how I do it. So then I just walk it around here. Okay, so I can see now that I need to take the table that way. That's pretty close right there. So now we'll get the indicator on. And we'll zero it there. Okay, got pretty close on X. Right there. Alright, so now 0, 1 thou. So we'll go half. Oop, wrong way. And we'll 0 that. Should be 0 in the front. It is. Alright, now I turn my readout on. And I'll 0 that. I like that readout. I really do. I know I've said it before. You probably tired of hearing me say that, but you know, I was old when I was in the shop. It was pretty much a lot of it was old school read the dial, so I used to read out a little bit at work at the end but when I first started there was no readouts. You read your dial, so I don't need the mirror. All right, so now we'll bolt. So now we got the center dialed in. So now we'll bolt this on, and then we'll drill and tap a 540 hole. Need another bolt. Just a couple quarter 20 bolts here. It's just old tooling plate. It's a Mix 6 tooling plate. I should have probably used something better, but just a piece of old scrap I had. And basically that stuff is only good for making fixtures and stuff out of. It's not good for making parts out of because it's like a soft cast aluminum. If you've ever worked with this stuff, you'll know. All right, I'll put the small drill chuck in there. I haven't worked out here in quite a few days. It's the first day. You know, it's been pretty nice outside, so I've been working outside. So this is the first day we actually got some rain. We actually need rain. Oop, wrong center drill. There we go. All right. And the tap drill size for a 540 is number 38. And this one right here. Hope I got a tap for it. I'm sure I do. Well, I know I do. I've got the screws, so must have a tap. This is a 1/2 inch thick. Oh, that's not good. Don't pay attention to what you're doing here. Get a little oil over here. Dry drilling like that's not good, especially in aluminum. You get away with it in steel, but aluminum sometimes sucks when you do that, especially at Mix 6. Mix 6 is so gummy that you don't get away with that very often. You try to drill a dry drill a hole, it just welds your tool up. All right, taps. 540 tap right there. And get my, can't read it. Had to get over to a light over here. That's a 440. That's a 440. That's not gonna cut it. 440. I need a 540. 640. Maybe I don't. Maybe I don't have a 540 tab. Oh, here's 540. Oh, I only got one. Don't mess it up. Don't mess it up. I like to have at least one spare, so I'm gonna have to get online and order myself another one, at least one. Like I say, I like to have at least one spare, a new one on hand. Otherwise, you're in the middle of a project, you break it, and guess what? Then you gotta wait for one to be delivered, and sometimes to get them to deliver takes weeks instead of. That's one thing I kind of miss. I know people will say, "Oh, Enco, that they sell nothing but crap," but guess what? I've always had pretty good luck with them, and then they always delivered, you know, right away. They didn't mess around. So now they're Travers, is it? No. MS. Anyway, I don't order from them anymore. Their prices more than doubled on a lot of things. Yeah, sign of the time. I wish I'd have ordered more bandsaw blades when I had the chance, when Enco was around. I only had kept one of those too spare, and I'm on my spare, and I look around for Starrett bandsaw blade. That's the bandsaw blade that I like. Hard to find on the size of my bandsaw. Okay, don't want to lose that tap. I'm going to take that out and put it away right away so I don't lose it. And that a little bit of a low, and then I'm gonna before I actually do any milling, I'm gonna scribe it all out here. I'm just kind of showing you how it's gonna go. So anyway, we'll put that on there like that, and then I'll move off center, and I'll have it scribed out, and I'll move it to where the end mill is touching the scribe line on one side of the. Let me show you here. Are you looking at the vise? Okay, so this top piece will is looking like this, you know, and we're bolted on here. So what I'll do is I'll move the end mill over here, and then I'll swing it around till it's touching. I'll actually move it over and then move it up. It would be, since it's a 100 thou radius, 100 thou plus half the end mill, and then I'll swing that over till it's touching this line and bring it in. Like I say, I'll have it scribed out, and then I'll set a stop so that the end mill will stop right there, and then I'll swing it around to the other side, and then I'll put another stop, and then that way I can just take a cut, move it in, take it a little bit more, move it in, take it a little bit more, until I get down to the finished diameter. I've done that before and it worked for me, so there's no reason why it shouldn't work this time. Matter of fact, I could almost do it depth-wise. Come right in here, set the end mill right in there, and then come down, come down, come down until I finish. So, but I'm not going to do that today. It's supper time right now. So I put a little oil on the top of that. It was probably a mistake. I should have probably left it dry. But yeah, I'll end up probably put I'll swing it over here and put a bolt or a pin in, and then turn this and then tighten that up to where the end mill's up against the scribe line, and then swing it around to where I actually put a bolt in over here, because that way I can go up against the scribe line and then come around to it may be. Well, I'll figure it out when I start to do the cutting. Like I say, I'll use a small end mill, probably a 3/16 end mill when I'm doing it. 3/16, or I don't really want to go over a 1/4 inch. So more likely it'll be a 3/16 4 flute high speed end mill. I should have made a couple of these blanks in case I screw one up, but I didn't. I didn't make an extra one, so it's not that much to make another one. It's because all it is just 2 diameters, and then that I have a tool that I hand ground to cut the little trench for a belt or whatever, if you want to put the governor on it or something else on it, or run something. So, but like I say, I haven't worked out here, and it took me a while to remember what the heck I was doing. So anyway, I think that's going to be it for now. I don't know what the weather's supposed to be like tomorrow. Well, if it's nice, I'll be out here. I mean, if it rains, I'll be out here, and if it's nice, I won't be out here. I'll be out, and I have the garden all planted, but I have yard work that I'm sure my mother and father-in-law's grass needs to be mowed again. I mowed it day before yesterday, so I know ours is growing like crazy. I have to mow about I'd say every 3rd day. So, but I don't mind. I don't mind hours. I don't mind mowing it, just driving the tractor around the yard. Theirs, I need to push the mower around, but it's a self-propelled. So, anyway, I'm going to. I zeroed my readout out. That's one thing too. I'm going to lock the table in case anybody bumps the handles. They don't have to bump it pretty hard in order to move it. And that's another thing I like about this. If I'm on the readout, if I had a number up here and then shut it off, come back, and that number will be up there. It remembers. It has a little short term, or a little bit of a memory, that it remembers the number up there where it was set at. So I do, like I say, I do like that. Oh, I could, when I tighten that down too, I can move over and drill the rod hole right away too. The pinhole for the rod. I'm not sure what I put in there for that. I think it was a 62 thou. Looking for the rod. I've only got a few parts left, and then I'll have the drawings completed, other than running through when I'm making it, because right now I'm missing that dimension for that, see, that pin. I mean, you could get it by going to the rod, but it should be dimensioned on here also. So I'm going to go ahead and you're not seeing what I was seeing here, but yeah, the pinhole is missing. So, and that's what I'm doing as I'm building it. I'm going through and putting in the dimensions that are missing. Yeah, it would be a 62 because I think I stayed 62 with everything. So the valve, the valve rod and or the push rod, or whatever you want to call it, that rides on the eccentric. And then the eccentric will be next after this part. So put that in my toolbox so I don't lose it. I did work a little bit on the drawings today. I've got, like I say, I've only got very few parts. I think I got maybe 3 parts left to dimension up, and then it should be, they should be done. Other than, like I say, minor little tweaks here and there. So when I get, like I say, when I get done with this, then we'll see if anybody is interested in them, and we'll go from there. So until then, we'll catch you later.